Well, I was looking at the calendar and I realized that it's been about 30 days since I signed my separation agreement with my former employer. And I want to share a few thoughts. So in this video, I have 5 tips on how to survive the emotional roller coaster of starting over, especially if you're over 40. So think of this as a positive approach to facing negative situations. But before we get started, if we haven't met yet, my name is Paul. I'm a former video editor in the religious space, turned full-time solo creator. So just so you know, hitting that like and subscribe button helps me to get closer to being able to monetize this channel, which is one less thing for me to worry about on my end. And it costs you nothing, which means that you don't have to worry about me either. Anyway, without further ado, let's get started. I'm not gonna lie, this month has been hard. I've gone back and forth between anger and euphoria. Yeah, anger because how dare they let me go, and euphoria because I walked into a busy month of freelance work despite the zero notice layoff. Spending a couple weeks in Hollywood and Beverly Hills was nice, so was being able to go off to another country. And if you missed those vlogs, link is in the description. Also, I got to do all kinds of things like plan and create videos to reboot this channel. So at the same time, I was really grateful. So anyway, I promised you tips. So tip number 1 is to start with gratitude. What are you thankful for in your personal life? I know that when you're on a negative slope that it's really hard, and that you don't want somebody telling you to be thankful for the air in your lungs or just being 6 feet above ground, because you're probably caught in an infinite loop of sending out resumes and applying to new places and then having to fill out applications to those places in addition to already sending them, resumes. And then some overly positive person gets in your face and tells you to be grateful for your breath, and you just want to punch them in the face. And I'm not going to be negative about the idea of breathing, because if breathing works for you, then keep doing that. That's probably a good thing. But the reason people say to be grateful for your breath is because you need to start with something positive and real. So I start with being grateful for my brain, or my relationships, or the ideas I have, or the time I have to do things, or whatever your focus. Don't get overwhelmed by the thoughts exactly. Just notice the resources that you actually have. Then at one at a time, write them down. It's a reminder of things that you can build on. Listing gratitude is certainly a good exercise, because gratitude is like the steering wheel of your emotional nervous system. And the sooner you recognize that it's the real baseline in your life, the sooner you could start driving. Okay, enough theory, because when bad things happen, it's hard not to feel like you're literally thrown out like a piece of trash. And yes, being discarded absolutely sucks, and there's tons of reasons that we can find ourselves holding the short end of the stick. And those things can mess with your worldview. So tip number 3 is don't dwell, because dwelling on anything can change the narrative of what happened into a mind game that you don't need. If gratitude is the steering wheel, dwelling is the direction of that wheel, and it's a circle. I get it. Lots of doubts can creep in when you go through things, and you probably will second guess everything from your job performance, where you were in the hierarchy of who might be next, and finally your actual relevance to the company, if there was ever a relevance. All good questions, and you could spend your time thinking about that, but none of that is going to change your current situation. So it's better you don't spend too much time on them. Think of them like the boyfriend or the girlfriend that you spent too much time with, that was never good for you, but you didn't have enough sense to leave because of comfort. This is why you need to move on. The faster you move on, the better for your mental health. Plus, no one should have space in your head too long rent-free. That's a privilege they should not have. So what do? You deal with it kind of the same way you did with that boy or girl that broke up with you. Remember freshman year? Remember that? Hopefully you weren't one of the ones that, drove by their house just to make sure they got home okay. I won't say anything if you were. We all make mistakes. But anyway, back on topic. Tip 4, remember to talk to someone regularly. And you should probably have a core group of people that you do talk to regularly too. People that you could trust to say whatever it is that you need to say. But then get out as fast as possible. Life is a journey, and you have to keep moving through these valleys. Remember that gratitude steering wheel again. Our goal is to be driving towards the good things and not in circles. So drive towards the things that will help you and away from the distractions, or at the very least, drive away from things that lead us into inaction. Or another way to think about this is, if you're going through hell, don't stop. If you're in the wrong neighborhood, get out of that neighborhood. hell isn't an address I want, it isn't a parking spot I want either. Finally, tip 5, remind yourself of your value constantly. This is not just an outward-facing statement for the rest of the world, but a reminder to yourself. There were a lot of good things in your life currently being overshadowed by a bad situation. You were probably praised at some point. Remind yourself that there was something about you that got you hired at other places. You had talent, knowledge, all of which should serve as base values. And these are the things that you should be thinking about as you move forward. You are valuable. You just need to find a place that is missing that value that you can provide. So go there. Remember, there's a place that needs you. You are still valuable, and your future success depends on you holding on to this reality. This isn't about just being positive. It's about staying strong and mentally sound with fundamentals that keep you on track. Stay grounded. Have honest evaluations about your progress on your projects, your dreams, so you also don't get overly positive. We also don't want to build false expectations either. Dream big, plan big, but make sure that you have regular plans you are working towards too. Finally, before I go, remember, failures aren't really failures if you can learn from them. Honest evaluations will help you, especially if you can just focus on the 1 or 2 fixable things that are within your control for the next time. Don't just notice them, fix them. And if you do, your life will change, I promise you. And if you're a content creator, make content. It's that practice that changes the world around you. It's physically what I'm doing today. I'm putting back into practice just so that you understand that these things aren't just suggestions. They are my lifeline too. Do something, make something, encourage others to do the same. Be strong and be a light in the darkness. I hope this helps. If you found this content helpful, don't forget, I'm trying to reach all the metrics to monetize this channel, so liking the video helps, subscribing really helps, and if you made it this far, you're amazing. You're the real star. And thank you for staying until the end. Talk to you next time. Peace.